diving into one of the most influential books ever written, Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But we're going to do something a little different. We're not actually going to talk about the 7 habits themselves. Nope. Instead, we're going to dig into the foundation, the mindset you absolutely have to have before any of those habits can even begin to work. So let's start by figuring out the problem this whole idea is meant to solve. All right, first up, let's talk about the core problem, this thing we can call the success trap that so many of us fall into. You know, it all really starts with a question that I think every single one of us has asked ourselves at some point. Why is it that our best laid plans, our genuine efforts to get better, just fizzle out and fail? I mean, does any of this sound painfully familiar? You start that new diet. Again, you take that expensive management course and you come back to work and, well, nothing really changes. You swear you're going to be more patient with your family and then you're not. It's that awful feeling of being constantly busy, just spinning your wheels, but not actually getting anywhere meaningful. These are really deep, frustrating problems. And this, right here, is where Covey says we get it all wrong. We try to fix these really fundamental issues with superficial, quick-fix solutions. He calls them social band-aids and aspirin. You know, they might make you feel a little better for a moment, but they do nothing for the actual wound underneath. And that leads us right to the heart of the book. This huge clash between two totally different ways of thinking about success. What he calls the character ethic versus the personality ethic. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Covey says that for about 150 years, all the talk about success was focused on the character ethic, which you see on the left, the real foundational stuff like integrity, humility, courage. But then, after World War I, everything shifted. The focus turned to the personality ethic on the right, things like your public image, communication techniques, and having a positive attitude. These are all the quick fixes, right? The skills and tricks that just work on the surface. And this quote from Thoreau just nails the difference. The personality ethic is like hacking at the leaves of a problem. You're just dealing with the symptoms. But the character ethic, that's striking at the root, the real cause of the problem. You can't create lasting change by just trimming leaves. It just doesn't work. So, if we need to get to the root, how in the world do we do that? Well, according to Covey, it all starts by understanding the incredible power of our paradigms. So what even is a paradigm? It's simple, really. It's your mental map. It's not the world itself, but it's your perception of the world, the lens you see everything through. We've all got them for everything. And that leads us to a really important question. What happens if your map is just completely wrong? Covey uses this fantastic analogy. Imagine you're in Chicago, okay? And you're trying to find a specific place, but someone gave you a map of Detroit. It doesn't matter how much effort you put in. You can work on your behavior, run faster. You can work on your attitude, be super positive about being lost, but it won't change a thing. You're just gonna get to the wrong place faster. You don't need more effort. You need the right map. And this is the core insight, the thing you really need to get. A lot of the time, the problem isn't the problem. The way we see the problem is the problem. Our map, our paradigm, that's what's actually holding us back. Covey shares this incredibly powerful story from his own life. He's on a subway, and this man gets on with his kids, who are just running wild, yelling, and bothering everyone. You'd feel annoyed, right? You judge him as a terrible parent. Finally, Covey goes over and asks him to get his kids under control. The man looks up, as if in a daze, and says, "Oh, you're right. I guess I should do something. We just came from the hospital where their mother died about an hour ago." And in that single second, everything changes. Your whole paradigm shifts. The irritation is gone, instantly replaced by this wave of compassion. You didn't change your behavior. You didn't try to have a better attitude. You just saw things differently. That's a paradigm shift. So if our own maps can be so wrong, what are we supposed to navigate by? The answer is principles. Universal, unchanging principles. And here's another great story to show what that means. A captain on a massive battleship sees a light in the distance through the fog. He immediately gets on the radio and signals, "We're on a collision course. Advise you change course 20 degrees. A moment later, a reply comes back, "Advisable for you to change course 20 degrees. Well, the captain is furious now. He gets back on and barks, "I'm a battleship. Change course 20 degrees. He's pulling rank, right? He's trying to use his status and his force of personality to bend reality to his will. And the final, calm reply comes back, I'm a lighthouse.
The battleship had to change course. And that's the whole point. Principles like fairness, integrity, honesty, they're lighthouses. They are solid, unmovable, natural laws. You don't break them, you only break yourself against them. Real effectiveness only comes when we align our maps with these unchanging lighthouses.
Okay, so this is all great in theory, but how do we actually apply it? It all comes together in a simple, practical idea that Covey calls the inside-out approach. And the best way to understand this is with Aesop's old fable about the goose and the golden egg. A farmer has this amazing goose that lays a solid golden egg every single day. He becomes incredibly wealthy, but he gets greedy and impatient. He thinks, why wait for one egg a day? So he kills the goose to get all the eggs at once, only to find there's nothing inside. By focusing only on the golden eggs, he destroyed the very thing that produced them. This story perfectly illustrates what Covey calls the P/PC balance. P stands for production. That's the golden eggs, the results you want to get. PC is for production capability. That's the goose, the asset that actually produces the results. True effectiveness is all about finding the balance. If you only focus on the eggs, you'll eventually kill the goose. And it all comes together in the inside-out approach. It means you have to start with yourself, with your paradigms, with your character, with your deepest motives. You have to take care of the goose, your own ability to produce, first. The promises you make and keep to yourself have to come before the promises you make to other people. These private victories are what make any public victories possible. So the real question this all leaves us with is this. In your own life, are you spending all your time and energy just hacking away at the leaves, focusing on your attitude and behavior on the surface? Or are you ready to do the deeper, harder work of striking at the root, of really looking at your character and your paradigms? Because the answer to that question changes everything.
Please do subscribe.